Hey everybody, it's been a while since I've done one of these, so today we are going to go over Batman and Grendel, Devil's Riddle. This is book one. There's two books. The first one's called Devil's Riddle, and we're going to end on a cliffhanger, but we're still going to go through it. Now, if you don't know much about these characters, of course, it's Batman. Everybody knows him. The other character is Grendel, and he was created by a guy named Matt Wagner, and he is the one who wrote this book and illustrated it. Grendel had his own series from the comics publisher Comico, and they're in association with DC for this one and doing a crossover. But this came out in 1993, and I remember there's a Grendel series when I was younger, and I would always see the character and that design, and I'd be like, I want to read that, I want to know who that is, and I didn't never know, it was not one of the big characters from one of the pop publishing companies like DC or Marvel. I just, assumed it was because that was the only comics I read and knew when I was younger. But this is actually from Matt Wagner, who is somebody that worked with Comico and then later Dark Horse and some other stuff. But yeah, it was just a cover and character that I loved the design, thought it was cool, and I never, really picked that up. So I told my brother about it. He always remembered that story, and one day he ordered this for me and picked it up because I've never read it. I wanted to read it and said, I always remember you talking about that, and I found this, so I got it for you. So thanks to him, and I will now take us through. I'm also working on trying to figure out how I'm gonna do these videos in the future because I don't know if I should just go through and read everything or if I should just kind of read some of it and give an overview like I've done before. I know that Origin of the Simple Surfer, one of the last videos I did, I kind of read most of that one, but that one was because it was comedy and it had a lot of stuff that I wasn't really used to. And I stumbled through it, but we went through and we read the whole thing. So I kind of want to do that for some of these just because you won't miss stuff and you won't just have me um, trying to summarize it for you, but it'll be like you're reading it also. But I ain't the best person to read all these comics, especially when it gets pretty confusing. So that may not be the way I need to go. But anyway, this story opens up with a view of the city, and the art in here is also by Matt Wagner, so it's pretty sweet. And this came out in 1993 over here, or it's when it was published at least. I think it actually was written and stuff a little earlier, but didn't get to come out till later. But we'll jump in. Let's go for it. This is a lot of the story is told by hearing their thoughts because it's like they're writing it down, and that's what these little panels are. They are the handwriting of Grendel, which is his secret identity is Hunter Rose, and he is an author and then like an assassin, and nobody really knows who he is. But in his series, at this time, it is very boring for him. He fights somebody called the Wolf, and the Wolf is out of the picture right now, isn't making any moves, and Grendel's bored. So he finds out about Gotham. There is a publisher here that he can work and be there, but there's some kind of deal going down with Gotham, the crime lords and stuff like that. And he's going to make an appearance. He knows Batman's there, and he thinks it'll be fun. So that's kind of what he's going through right here. So it says 4 months now, 4 months, and still no sign of him. Needless to say, everything seems lifeless and easy. No challenges. With the wolf still in hiding and no end in sight to our detente, the once thrilling arena of crime has turned its sluggish underbelly to me. Given up, former tough guys now call with offers of limousines, insider info on capital gains, vacations by the sea. Is there nothing this town has left to offer me? Is there no one out there worth a fair tumble with the devil? And Grendel calls himself the devil. But Larry is worth every penny I pay him. And he tells me of a special deal going down in Gotham City. And don't I just happen to have a publisher there bidding heavily on my next long delayed shut up novel? Grendel probably isn't common knowledge there, especially since Gotham has its own wolf, after all. Now that does sound like fun. Call that Sontag fellow tomorrow. So it's a note he made himself. And it says down here, this obviously is probably Batman. The city has been quiet lately. Too quiet. As always, enough street crime to keep training level high, but no harsh threats, no monsters, unless one counts the Sphinx efforts to save a monster. Doomed piece of the past. Memo. Meeting. Read this at the club on Thursday, before patrol. Accident in the cave today. ... So that was Batman's words. And then we look, and here is Gotham. It's Gotham City Club, some kind of club. We have some people serving drinks. We have two guys sitting at a table there. And the way these panels are arranged, and the way that the I guess writing gives their thoughts and stuff, the different panels, it's really interesting, and it's kind of cool just to see all the different perspectives. There are about four main characters in this book. You got Batman, Bruce Wayne, and Hunter Rose, Grendel, and then you have two other ladies we're about to be introduced to. So these two guys are sitting here sipping on drinks, and it says, "Sip, excuse me, yes. You seem to have gotten my red wine, and I have your sip, your ginger ale. Sorry. Nice club this. You a member? 7 generations. My. I'm the guest of a member myself. Norman Sontag? Sorry, no. I don't come here much. What do you do for Mr. Sontag? I'm a writer from out of town, and I love a good club. You? A writer would call me one of the idle rich. I inherited young. Well, I'm fairly idle as well at the moment, and I started young. So, I see. But you must excuse me now. I'm here for a meeting, and I'm already late. Yes, I'm here for one as well. Sorry, but I didn't catch your name. Wayne. Bruce Wayne. And you are? Hunter. Hunter Rose. So, Batman and Grendel just met each other. We go right here, and we have somebody else's thoughts. It says, God, setting up this show has been such a pain. Those goons Leonard gives me as handles can barely even speak English. Farwell. Thank God the security in this place is so good. I caught one of them stealing pins out of my office one day. Anything they can get. Rachel? And then there's somebody else's thoughts. Oh man, I hate these long evenings. I'm supposed to go out dancing tonight, and I hate this edition I'm working on. Hilly? Groan. Leonard's waiting for you in the West Wing. Oh Lord, stay and supervise this, Lucy. Leonard, pig. Now what? Yes? Norman wants to see you in his office right away. Know what it's about? Nope. So you have your two ladies here, the other main characters. One of them's Hilly, and the other one's Rachel. We're back to the meeting place over here. Sorry, gentlemen. Nonsense, my boy. Come in. We were just ready to begin. Your chair. Always good to have Wayne show up late to important meetings. So this is Bruce Wayne. Apologetic, tired-looking, sometimes surly, sometimes charming, and O'Rourke handles things so smoothly. Note, checking the pay raise. The Sphinx's face needs repairing. Acid rain and such. We've been asked to fund, but have demanded a 3-month display. Good PR. Wayne's vote needed to finalize something this big. Mumbled something about security. Only junior members will know final details of each stage. Leaves us out of it altogether. Okay, back over here. This is Rachel. Why must he persist? Why must he insist on the pretense that it is he who makes this gallery run? I'm not so sure about this latest showing, Miss King. Bull. We've already got sales over half the pieces. Already got sales for over half the pieces. Still it verges on that modernist crap. Leonard, art does move on, you know. At least try to keep up with it. Snort. Oh wow. Okay, this is back to Hilly. Oh wow, that's amazing. I love his work. I know. Personally, I find it a little raw, but I think you're just the person to swing this deal for us, Hill. You're not the best editor, I must say, but in PR, who knows? Why me, Norman? I'm cute and dressed 100 times better than most of the bugs in this office. So we got 3 different perspectives going on, and then now we're adding a 4th here. And if you look at the handwriting, it matches 100 Roses from the beginning. The once removed method of corporate band washing. That's good. Dream members are actually more vulnerable in the long run. More susceptible to pressure, just less suspect. So if all you need is my vote, you've got it. And now I'm afraid I must be off. The night is young, after all. And I've met Leonard Ross once before, back home. Larry's probably got something on him, I'm sure. What a pompous A. Be fun. Good evening, gentlemen. Snort. You would do well to treat me better, Miss King. There are big things afoot for this gallery, I assure you. Him and his hints. What a pompous A. So everybody's throwing that one around. So you got all three. This is Bruce Wayne back here doing his meeting. Hunter Rose is watching the meeting. And then we have Rachel talking to Leonard. And he says, so make sure you don't situate yourself on my bad side, Miss King. Oh, and what side would that be, Mr. Ross? I am warning you, Miss King. Warning me? Warning me? And then we jump to Hilly. He says, screw your PR gig, Norman. I'm gonna be your star writer someday, and you'll be lining up liaisons for me. Still, this is a neat opportunity. Okay, Norman, I'm your gal. I'll get this new book out of him if I have to write it myself. Ha! Funny girl. Tomorrow at 11, Hill. No later, huh? Okay, now we got Hunter Rose. Need to call Larry. Nicer taxis than New York. Taxi! Took me nearly 20 minutes to get a taxi. 20 minutes. And then here's Hilly. Maybe this will be the start of something new for me. Maybe he'll really be as neat as his writing and as cute as his pictures. And then Bruce Wayne, Thursday night, club districts, activity high, early weekenders, easy victims, no crowds. All right, then we jump over and we find out that Hilly and Rachel are roommates. So here is Hilly walking in to Rachel and says, hey there, late for you tonight too? But tonight was all-night bookie at the Hubbub. Hoorah! Ray was tense when I got home, but Thursdays are always bad for her. Ooh, Hilly, he just makes everything so difficult when it comes time for me to renew my contract. Shoot me, will you? Just shoot me. Oops, wrong apartment. Sorry, Mrs. Godzilla. Get back here, you. And then this is Rachel's thoughts. She says, I was on the verge of quitting when Hilly came home, and everything was better for a while. Ergo, he is a pig. Undeniably so. What are you going to do about it? Right? Hey, so anyway, I got a new job. Sort of handling a new account. Oh, yes? She claims she's been made official liaison to a hot young star who is in town. I said it sounded like corporate whoring. She threw the soap. Come on, are you sure you don't want to come? So she's going out dancing. She's trying to get Rachel to go. So do you good. Good Lord, that Bruce Wayne's a handsome specimen. The club hubbub? No thanks. Too harsh for me. And I've got an early day tomorrow. Have fun. And Hill? Easy on the drinking, huh? Yeah. She storms out. Says someday she's going to feel exposed in this city. Learn to be more careful. Memo. Must call for escort. Okay, and then here's her thoughts. Ray really should come out more often. It would help her relax. Hell, it seems like years since she's been out with me. It's like after college, she just bing switched off her swimmy switch. Adulthood. Poor Ray. Okay, back to Rachel. Yes, I need to arrange for an escort this Saturday evening. Yes, for myself. Yes, of course I'm a woman. God, I wish this weren't necessary, that being alone at these things didn't make you an automatic target for a pickup. I had asked Lucy to do that. And then it says, remember, Rachel, good girls, smart girls, take care of themselves. So that's, I guess, her grandma or somebody talking to her when she was little. And then over here we have Bruce Wayne. It instructed Alfred to have my tights laid out in the first floor bedroom. We'll take this same car. Standard cape. Park. Lower deck. Alfred calls the estate the largest toy farm in the world. Certainly the most effective. And then scene from his past shows him with his dad and says, "Someday, Bruce, after we're gone, all this will be yours." And now we're going to jump over here to Hilly. And she says, "Got there in only an hour and 15. And for only $1. I remember being proud of that, even though everyone stared at me like a well-dressed slug." And she says, "White and shiny. I made it though. No sweat." And then it has her thoughts. "Hilly, if you dress like a whore, the people are going to treat you like one." So I guess that's her dad talking to her when she was younger. "Hey Ziggs, Danny B, sorry I'm late, guys. We're about to give up. Sup, girl?" Hadn't seen either of those guys for a while. Danny's been working on an independent film, and Ziggs just been Ziggs. See him whenever. And then now this is Hunter, seen from his past. "You're a hunter. Someday the whole world's going to be yours." "Delivery came for you, sir. Thank you. Remember to tell Larry the Gotham Arms is excellent. Have received perfect service and strictest privacy in every regard." Ooh, that page is a little tough to read. So now this is Hunter again. "Of course, Larry provided me with exactly what I needed. My opponent, mirrored in the faces of his enemies." "Me? I just finished reviewing your package. Yes, the suite is lovely. Good choice. How is Stacy?" "Fine. Misses her daddy." Well, let's go over this loony bin then. Alright, here we go. And then he says, "Since I am forcing him to fulfill a role in my life, it would be poetic to begin in a role with which he's familiar. Besides, that should keep him off track for a while. I am alone here, after all. Larry said these were the minimum possibilities. Maybe I should move to Gotham." Okay, so here's the loony bin of characters. The first one's got an impressive body count, but is a trifle too explosive. No fright wigs for me. So, of course, that's the Joker. Then we got the second one's got an interesting literary motif and a history of taunting. That's good. That's the Riddler. Number 3, no, Catwoman. And then he says, "Number 4 is just too dang grotesque, disturbing, in fact, so let's move on to," so that's Two-Face. "Number 5, who speaks for himself, I'm afraid. That's Penguin." So then he says, "So it's this Riddler fellow. Besides, it'll be fun making a real treat out of someone this pathetic, and it'll keep me where I prefer to be, in the shadows. Now tell me everything you know about Leonard Ross." He knew, of course. He knew. Of course he knew. Larry stands with his ears to the wind. "The Honorable Mr. Ross is making this simpler for me than I could have hoped. It would almost be too easy if he were there tonight. But first, the riddle. Nothing too hard now. Only fair." So he's going to frame the Riddler, looks like what his plan is. And now back at the mansion. "Normally, I like to see the city as I dress for the night. But after the accident earlier this week, Alfred has some trouble with stairs. Still, he roams about the first floor like a caged animal, no matter how I try to keep him still. Alfred, this room is clean. You should be resting." "Nonsense, sir. This room has a fireplace. It collects dust like a piece of velvet, and the clock mechanism must be kept working smoothly." "Yes, but you could take a vacation. Go home to England for a while, say. Obviously, you can't relax here, and you need the rest. I just can't forget that I asked you to bring me that tea. Master Bruce, look out!" So he's saying bring him the tea. Maybe Alfred's doing something else here. Maybe he's like saving him from something. I'm not too sure. And then he says, "Which is the only reason you're still alive, sir." So it's almost like maybe he just jumped in the way and saved him from something. I'm not too sure on that. I guess he could be really dropping some tea. Who knows? "But I'm fine. So go. Things are quiet. But, sir, I insist. I don't want you to sacrifice yourself for me like this. But I choose to do so, sir." Then he says, 2 weeks were all I could make him agree to, though. Tough spirit. No wonder father liked him so much. So Alfred's away, and Bruce has a place to himself in the city when Grendel's here, so that's probably not pretty good. So back to Hilly. She says, danced the whole night. Went to this bald gal who kept trying to get my attention. Ziggs will never learn another way to dance. So I guess Ziggs is dancing pretty crazy. And then this is Rachel. 15 minutes. 15 minutes to arrange a simple escort. And they even have me on file. Ooh, man. Hilly gets home okay. So I guess she's saying hope Hilly gets home okay. And then over here it says, shame on you, Hilly. So this is a flashback to before and then now. Shame, shame. And it says, yes, driver. On the left and quietly, please. So this is Leonard, I think. Leonard Ross, the one that is Rachel's boss. And then now Rachel is dreaming. Please, Rachel, please. And then she's saying, no, no. And then over here you have Hunter Rose, and he says, come here, you. And then now he's flashing back, and it's to some woman telling him, I said, him and some woman, and he says, I said, come here. So then over here you have Bruce putting on his mask, and he's flashing back to his parents getting killed, and he's saying, no. And he says, no. So then now you have Hunter Rose again, and he's saying, Larry assured me that Leonard Ross was secretly carrying on with an artist, even knew the name. Finding him was easy. Watching them was not. So he's tracked him down. And then this is Healy. It says, Ziggs, as usual, left with some babe, and Danny disappeared into the DJ's booth. Inevitable. So she's leaving on her own, kicking a can. And then you have some other guys coming up behind her. So there's going to be some trouble. But I was feeling no pain and thought, screw the bus. I'll walk to the subway from here. Stupid, stupid, stupid. And then now you have Hunter looking at Leonard Ross. I made sure Leonard's wife was fast asleep. By the time Leonard arrived, I had even read all their files. Pathetic, safe, no computer. So she's walking under the street lights. She notices somebody's behind her. Leonard opens his door. He's walking in. You have the guys, and then she looks back and sees them in the fright. Leonard is putting up his hat and his coat, and then she begins to run, and it all turns red right here because you can tell she has anxiety. It's normal, and then it gets a little bit brighter, and then now it's dark red. So that's kind of cool effect they did. Matt Wagner. And then, so somebody reaches out and grabs Leonard by the tie. Hell, and he was trying so hard to be quiet. And then now you see up in the air, there's Batman. And she says, I mean, I was so scared. I've never been. And then she says, my purse, back there. We don't want your purse, lady. So we have Batman here, swoops down, and this guy says, but if you insist, we'll take the money too. And then this is to Grendel on top of Leonard. He says, I'm not here for either your money or your life. And then you have Batman crushing that guy. You see the knife flying, and he just is going, ugh. And then you have Grendel holding Leonard out here by his tie after he got hit. And he says, although I could easily be persuaded concerning the latter. And then the whole time you have down here, no, you have Hilly scared, and then you have Rachel saying no. Then you have Healy, and then Rachel is tossing and turning in her bed. And then this guy's saying, help me, you guys. And these guys are dumbfounded, and so is Healy. She looks scared right there. And then over here, you have Leonard grabbing his face, and he's moaning a little bit. And then Grendel says, so please pay attention while we continue this, yes? And then she is still tossing and turning in the bed, having a bad dream. No, no. And this is an awesome picture of Batman right here. That guy's on the ground, these other ones staring in fear, and Hilly is surprised and doesn't know what's going on. And then we have the thoughts of Batman, Bruce Wayne. Squeezed a few screams out of the first one, and then paused as the bat for a moment. These people were all drug polluted, most susceptible to images. Then dove into the thick of them, seemingly heedless of the girl. She had to be scared of this too. Now she was safe, but she should remember. So those guys are getting ready to run, getting ready to fight. Then over here we have Grendel and Leonard Ross. And he says, I must say, he did manage to retain most of his calm. He shivered and sweat, of course, but he didn't thrash about or start to scream uncontrollably. Not yet. Please, what do you want? My wife is fast asleep, and unlikely to disturb us as we talk. You will talk to me, won't you, Lenny? Truthfully, yes. Yes, of course, whatever you... Who is to be your junior member in the Wayne deal? Stay? But how? Who? Manager Rachel King. Is she obedient? Not half. Not good. I'm afraid you're going to have to be stronger for me, Lenny. And I guess he right here swipes something and Lenny yells, no! And it's boing, so I guess it's the piano making a noise. Now he's stepping on top of it, closes it, plunk. Now, Lenny, this could be only the beginning. And then it looks like he is pulling something back and ripping it. It could be much worse, I assure you. So there's something he has down there torn. He says, please don't. That painting is over 300 years old. What do you want? Sit, Leonard. He finally broke when I cut the Vermeer. Not over his own life or his wife's, but it's the painting that he was breaking on. Weights in the tips of the cape usually help on the big ones. Disorienting. So he sweeps his cape, hits him in the face. That guy goes back, he punches him, and he says, number 2 took some effort. Big, thick, slow. I said sit down, Lenny, and tell me, do you know the man in this photo? Of course, but, sit. Of course, but, what does the Riddler have to do with me? Number 3, tobacco breath. Oomph! Punches him in the stomach. But first, take a look at these photos as well, you sly dog. Listen to me carefully, or your wife and the local tabloids will receive a similar batch. Burn those if you like. I have plenty. Number 4 tried to run, so Batman pulls out his rope and says, Lenny, look at me, Lenny. Your report to the police will say that it was the Riddler who broke into your home tonight and stole this painting, leaving this message behind. Batman throws that. It's going for the guy's legs. See, Lenny, I told you it could be worse. He's very cute, by the way. So he's insinuating that Lenny is actually gay and he's with another man. And those pictures are going to be used for blackmail. So he's going to try to listen and follow what Grendel says. So Batman got the guy. He has the girl. He gets her a cab. And says, you are to work at extending a tighter control over its king, and your story of the Riddler must be sworn testimony. I will contact you at a later date. Are you clear on all this? Yes, I am. Take this woman wherever she lives. You got it, man. And finally, after tossing and turning for a few panels, Rachel wakes up. She says, good God, that was the worst one in months. Dang it, I don't know how much more of this I can take. He was so real again. So I'm assuming that's some guy attacking her, maybe. And so she's in this is Healy in the cab looking at Batman and all. And this is Leonard reaching for the phone to call somebody, probably the cops, and tell them it's the Riddler. And Rachel has the phone ring. It's just a shrink again. Better be good. Yes, hello? Miss King, this is Leonard Ross. I'm calling to tell you of a meeting tomorrow. Okay, so he's actually calling Miss King to keep that tighter control that Grendel had told him to keep. And he says, with the Wayne Foundation, Or she says, with the Wayne Foundation, Really? But what's it all about? I'm sure you'll find out tomorrow, Miss King. And need I remind you to be prompt? Remind me? I'm the most on-time person you've ever known, Leonard. And to show proper respect to your superiors, I might add, this is no Don't treat me like a waitress here, Leonard. I don't deserve a bit of it. And then she's yelling back at him, and it has it coming out of the phone. I know how to behave for a board, I can assure you. And just make sure you're not the one who's late, Mr. Ross. And then she says, quivering macho pile, and then she hangs up. Slam. I cannot believe him. It must be after 3 in the morning. Can't sleep. Can't sleep now. Maybe a cup of tea. She gets up, goes to make the tea, and then we have Hilly coming in again. As if I am ever late. And then Hilly came home. Great, you're up. Listen to what happened to me. Didn't expect Rachel to be up when I got in, but man, was I glad. I was just bursting to tell someone. And then now we have them together right there talking on the couch. And then Rachel's thinking, and everything was better for a while. Just like a big piece of the night itself. Just unreal. Dark and flapping scumballs dropping like flies. He even snagged my purse and threw it in the cab with me. And then we have Rachel going, why are all the gentlemen in Gotham so unattainable? It's a genetic mutation that occurs in our native boys. You know, like Bruce Wayne. He's of the stony eyes and empty smile. So this is Hilly, and she doesn't know that Rachel's actually going to meet Mr. Wayne tomorrow. And then she says, hey, if this deal goes through, then Wayne's part of the home team. Them's fighting words, girl. Fight. Foot fight, foot fight. So then they have a girly foot fight. I don't know. Maybe that's something they do. Useless courage, you second rater. And they're fighting, and they laugh, and then Hilly spills her drink on herself. And she says, yes, that's right. I might actually get to meet Mr. Wayne tomorrow. Well, well, well. Oh, I'm soaked. I've got to rinse this out. Wonder if he'll hold up under scrutiny. Hey, that's right. Tomorrow's my first meeting with Hunter Rose. Now, what a week. So then they sit there together. Okay, so Hilly is going to meet Hunter Rose, and Rachel is going to meet Bruce Wayne. And then we have Commissioner Gordon up here on the roof with the bat signal. And Batman is saying, Gordon is not a man given to panic, and shows restraint in his use of the signal. Thus, his call indicates a special emergency. One of the monsters is loose. Sir, this is a cop up there with him. He's here. I know. Thanks for coming. And so soon. You were in the area? Close enough. What's the problem? Looks like the Riddler's back. He apparently stole a painting after terrorizing Leonard Ross, the gallery owner. Left this in the frame. We thought Nigma was somewhere out west. Didn't think he had it together enough to launch something big like this. He doesn't. Still, we have a positive ID. And here's a note. It's the riddle that Grendel has written for him. My king, my queen, your true knave of hearts, request your attention and grace. Success and stubbornness soon will be mine. That's as plain as the nose on your face. Okay, there you go. There's the rhyming. The Riddler. And then Batman says, this is a declaration, not a riddle. The Riddler deals in puzzles, and he isn't so arrogant. And then Commissioner says, still, we have that ID. I'll be in touch when I know more. And then Commissioner says, me too. And then he jumps off. So, next day, we have the meeting. Miss King's right here, and she comes in as mad as ever. We'll talk later about that phone call, Mr. Ross. Shh. Decorum, Miss King, decorum. That squirmy Leonard showed up late enough that there was no chance to let him have it before we were inside. I was off balance. Gentlemen, yawn, and then we have Hilly barely waking up for her meeting after a long night. She sees the clock, jumps up, and says, talk about your airheads. I woke up only an hour before I had to be in Norman's office. That's it, Farrington. Blow it before it even starts. How does Ray do it? So Ray's already in the meeting. Hilly's rushing to go get to hers. And she's sitting there listening. And it says, Annex has a larger delivery dock and fewer exits, which is why the head will spend its first night in Gotham in the east wing of your gallery. Any questions? And then Hilly runs in. She says, you're late. I know. And then Rachel says, yes. Will Mr. Wayne be joining us today or not? And then there is somebody walking in, and it says, "Hi, Norman. I know I'm late. Sorry. The subway, we're a mess. Sorry, sorry, sorry." And then here is Bruce Wayne with these close-ups. "Yes, gentlemen and ladies, I must apologize for my tardiness once again. It seems like I am forever late, Mrs." And then she looks at his tie, looks at his hair, looks at his chin, his hands, his lips, his eyes, and she's dumbfounded. And the same is happening to Hilly, who looks at all of Mr. Rose's style. The same thing is what he's wearing, his shoes, his hands, his hair, his lips, his eyes. And then she says, or Hunter Rose says, "Ah, so better late than never. Yes, especially if you are even half the sparkling woman your employer claims, my dear." So that's pretty sweet where they introduce them. And you have Bruce Wayne shaking the hand of Miss King, Rachel King. "My apologies for being such a poor executive, Miss King. I'm afraid I am the wayward Bruce Wayne." His hands, so big, and I could only nod as he spoke to me, he held up, in other words. And then we have Hilly meeting Hunter. "Hilary Parrington, I'd like you to meet Hunter Rose, our newest star, we hope." "Ah, you make me blush, Mr. Sontag, and Miss Farrington makes me smile." "Oh, thank you. I'm a big fan of your work, Mr. Rose." "Hunter." I hadn't meant to tell him that, but he was just so fluid and strong. He even made that cane look natural, so relaxed. Okay, and then back to Bruce. "Please continue, Andrew." He says, "I don't even know why I'm here, really, but it is the first official meeting and all, so I thought it in good taste. So please ignore me. Go on." "Fine, Miss King, your hours." And then we have, jumping back to Hilly. "Sorry to keep you fellas waiting, but you know how it is some mornings, after some nights. Nights are the best times, aren't they? Yes, I understand completely, Hilary." "Hilly, well, why don't you get this man some lunch, then, Hill? Tell him why he ought to work for us." "A splendid idea. I haven't eaten yet, so bring your plastic and your boss's blessing, Hilly." "Bless you both. Haha, bye, Norman." Okay, and then back over here to Bruce. "Miss King, your delivery hours at the gallery?" "Oh, yes, for truck weighing less than 3,000, 1 a.m. And then now we're over here. They are at a fancy restaurant, looks like. And it says, "He said a friend had recommended a place nearby, and it was exquisite, meaning I couldn't have afforded it on my own. Hunter himself only uh, made the restaurant better." Ha 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 ha. So she's doing her laughing, ha ha, laughing at his jokes. And then back to the meeting. "Even though he seemed to be asleep, I couldn't keep my eyes off him. I mean, he acted like an absolute bore, and yet there was the way his body seemed so tightly coiled underneath his clothing. Following arrival in Gotham Harbor will be transported directly to the gallery." Back at the restaurant. "Ha, you certainly are quick with the tongue, Mr. Rose. Hunter, been that way all my life. So what are you going to do about it?" "Hey, my roommate says that. She's a manager at Leonard Ross Galleries. Ever heard of him?" "Once or twice." "Well, the afternoon just flew by, and I can't remember ever being impressed by someone I was actually speaking to. Not used to guys like this. And after the meeting, I just couldn't resist. I don't know what happened." So Miss King runs out there and says, "Mr. Wayne, I'm sorry if I was rude earlier. You had every right to voice your concern, Miss King. I am too lax." "No, I really don't think that. Not to excess." "Oh? Yes, well then, goodbye, Mr. Wayne. Good day, Miss King." Dum 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 dum. And then over here back at the restaurant, it says, "Listen, since you're in town for a while, there's this art party 2 nights from now." "Sounds delightful. I'll call you at work. Bob's your uncle." "Oh, you don't sound British." "Canadian." "Good evening, then, my Canadian sparkler." Wow, wow, wow. All right, now we're switching over, and we have Leonard Ross coming home. "Dear God, what are you doing here? Where's Anton?" So Hunter Rose is up here on top of the statue, sleeping off a dose of what your wife had. Leonard, I'm surprised at you. Not only all this secrecy, but with such a modernist, hardly your image, Lenny. Now, the meeting went smoothly, except for Miss King. She remains obstinate. Very well, close the door and sit over there. I have further instructions. Don't silence, yes? Me. How'd it go? Lovely. So he's on the phone talking to somebody. And here is that somebody. It's amazing how naked most people are when one attempts to look. Each of our ladies has a sordid past, though. Your Miss Farrington seems the most vulnerable, by far. Yes? Miss King was forced to abort an unlucky pregnancy in her college days, but makes no attempt to hide the fact now. You're next, sweetie. And then we have over here, Miss Farrington had a similar experience, but was forced by her parents to see it through and give up the child for adoption. This was in high school, before she knew Miss King. Please, I can't even see it. So this guy's digging through their past. He works for Hunter, and he's on the phone with them. And then he says, as per usual in these cases, the adopting parents' names are withheld from the mother. So it's doubtful Hillary has any idea who or where her child actually is. Do you have this information? Of course. Perfect. Very well. The child's our ticket. Begin abduction proceedings immediately. Call me. Now then, Leonard. I need those delivery schedules and you need your privacy. No? Contact me in the Times personals when you're ready. You are Oedipus and I'm Rex. And do say good night to Anton for me. So he jumps out the window and takes off. Now we have Hilly right here. She's thinking. It helps to keep writing. He had told me always put down your thoughts. Anywhere on the subway, at the market, in line for a show, just do it. Write it down. He said it could help. He said it could help in all respected, liberate your mind, strengthen your ideas, exercise your fears. Oh man, I need some of that right now. I mean, you would have thought I'd be more careful after last night. So she's out walking, thinking of everything. And Hunter's over here writing. And he said, Leonard is now almost worth this endeavor. But he is desperate, and desperate men often produce. Still, my hold on Hillary now seems the most efficient means of breaking the stubborn Miss King of the stubborn Miss King. Amazing coincidence that could almost call it fate if one believed in such things, or such trife. Wonder if Rachel knows about Hillary's child. So he's thinking. And then she says, I should be more careful after last night. She says, but I didn't even hear a thing. And a hand reaches out and grabs her. It's kind of just like when the hand reached out and grabbed Leonard and puts her up against the wall. And then she says, and then I lost my hat. And her hat fell down. So Grendel's cornered her. Hunter Rose, of course, knows who this is and has this planned. So he cuts the hat in half and he says, hush, hush, my sweet. That was simply a show, meant to ensure your silence and your attention to what I have to say. This time it was only your hat and not the hair on your lovely head. Or on your daughter's. Did a daughter? Yes, I don't know how much this means to you, but she is my captive and will be put to death unless you do as I say. Over there, please. But how? And then she's remembering, please, can't I even see it? And then he says, does it matter? She was born on the 3rd of January at Pleasant Valley Memorial. You were 16 at the time and ignorant of the outcome. But I assure you, Miss Farrington, this is your daughter, and she is in my custody. Her safety at this point depends entirely on you. You will obtain any information concerning your roommate's upcoming deal with the Wayne Foundation, specifically shipping schedules. Rachel? But I don't. Again, failure means your daughter's death. And so, are we clear on this point? Or need I repeat myself? You may contact me through the Times personals. I am Thorn, and you are Rose. Do we understand each other? Yes, Off with you then. And then he pushes her out, and she walks away shocked and doesn't know what's going on. Now we jump to Rachel over here in the yellow. I mean, I just don't do that around men. Stare up in their eyes without a thing to say. I wonder where Hilly is. She'd be home for dinner. Said she'd be home for dinner. Mariana's boiling. Dang, who's... Hello? The phone's ringing. And quickly, please. I'm cooking. Miss King, this is Leonard Ross. I don't mean to make a habit of this late calling, but yes, Leonard, I'm sorry I didn't get to see you after the meeting. I got detoured, but I'll be in. No, Miss King, that's not why I'm calling. Oh, no, Miss King, that's why I'm calling you. I think we should share the information in this case. No, Leonard, you know I'm not supposed to do that. It's part of the security. Look, can't we do this in the morning? No, Miss King, we must get this straight now. I must know the scheduling of this thing. It is my gallery, and now hold it, Mr. Ross. But you have nothing to do with any shipping schedules, anyway. And then Mr. Ross gets mad. Don't get guts with me, Miss King. I'll... And then she gets mad. Not that any outside party would know that little fact, of course. We'll talk. I say I can fix it so that you'll never work in the art industry again. And then she looks at the phone and she yells and says, I am sick of your threats, and now this illegal conduct. And she slams the phone and she calls 911. And Miss King, wait, I'm sorry. And then the glass is broken and he's choking or he's sobbing. And she's on the phone with the officer and says, yes, officer, can you send a car for me? We're at 715 East 71st. And then she walks in stunned and says, hello, Ray. And then she says, 15, can't talk now, Hilly. I'm on the phone with the police. Yes, 15 minutes. It's okay, going to bed. And then she goes to bed. So, everybody's in disarray. This is completely crazy. Hunter's plan is going to make a mess of things. And then Batman's here, Bruce Wayne. Target is obviously Sphinx, which is either male or female depending on mythology, which that's the most classical riddle, ergo Riddler's symbolic nobility. Inherent references. Success equals getting ahead, stubbornness equals headstrong, certainly twisted enough for the Riddler. Style is all wrong though. He'll need someone inside the deal to pull this off. Wait, they will surface. They have the signal. So is Batman trying to figure out the riddle? What's going on? Commissioner, yes, I thought you'd know it by now. But this Leonard Ross thing, he's got to be the one who's in on it. Blackmail, I'd say. And then the phone clicks. And then Batman and Commissioner are still up here. But he's a friend of the governor, who's already called me. Not that that matters, but the shipment is imminent. And so I just think that maybe your method of approach would be at least a quicker one in this instance. I think the quickest way would be to give me the shipping information and let me head off our thief. And then now we have Rachel talking to Hilly. Oh, you're awake. God, you wouldn't believe what a day I've had. Yeah. And then she's still stunned. So Rachel says, so listen to this. It starts with me making a complete fool of myself in front of Bruce Wayne. It only gets worse. I'll make us tea. And then Commissioner. And you know that's the funny thing. Does he intend to steal it? It's big, heavy. What would he do with it? And they're talking about the Sphinx that's getting replaced, the shipping schedules. And then Commissioner says, and you know, officially, I can't give you any of that information. I don't even know it all. And then now Rachel's still talking. I mean, why would he even want that information? So they're all trying to get the information for the shipping. And then Hilly says, who knows? She's not even really able to focus. And of course you know the police. I mean, I suppose they are necessary, but it seems that's where every macho freak in the world tends to gravitate. Ugh. And Batman? Only Wayne Tech Security, you know, those Wayne boys. And besides, I imagine you can probably dig it up on your own, yes? And then Batman says, probably. So, Hilly's talking, so when does the dang thing arrive? And then Rachel's a little shocked. And then Batman jumps off and Commissioner says, keep me informed. And he says, yes. And then she turns around and says, oh, sorry, I guess you're not supposed to tell anybody that. And then now Hilly's thinking, my first attempt was a disaster. I'm not very good at this stuff yet. So now we jump to the Batcave, and Bruce Wayne's there. Wayne Tech security voice check. File codename Sphinx. Password override. Need to be certain of intent before approaching Ross. Theft, destruction, or if the intent is to steal, machinery will be needed. If to destroy, explosives. For shipping purposes, the face is to be sectioned off, measuring 19.2 feet by 26.8 feet by 15 feet. Then it will be packed in a special foam latex cube weighing approximately 17,000 pounds and trucked from Dock A12 at Gotham Harbor. Initial assessment, destruction. More gag appeal. And besides, what would he do with it? Too incomplete. The Riddler would divulge more than this. Click. So Batman's thinking. He says, also, what about the source, Leonard Ross? Why at the last stage of the game? Time to question Ross himself. Sun is coming up, not tired, spend some time in gym before bed. So Batman, doesn't have any powers, but he's definitely superhuman because he's staying up all night and he's still able to function. Might be why he was late at his meetings. We're almost done. We're getting through it. It's a little bit rough for me to read it all, but we're doing all right. I need to get a better setup, and then I'm able to see it a little more. So, Lucy, tell Leonard I need to see him in my office as soon as he arrives. Sorry, Rachel, but Mr. Ross has already called to say he won't be in today. Couldn't wait to see what Leonard had to say for himself, not to mention the fact that I had turned him into the police. Ooh, and she slams the door. She's real mad. Didn't he have the nerve to come in and confront me face to face? Wonder if the cops really gave him hell or what. He deserves whatever he gets. Pig. Called in sick today. Just couldn't. So she's at home. She called in sick. And then phone rings, so she picks it up. It says, hello? I hear that famous Sparkle's been dampened by weather. Nothing too painful, I hope. Oh, hi, Miss Hunter. No, just bad enough, but I'll muddle through. That's a girl. You seem like the resourceful type, able to come through in a pinch. Yes, I suppose. Well, we are still on for that party tomorrow evening, yes? Oh, certainly. I should be fine by then. At least I hope so. Well, is your roommate around, at least to take care of you? No, she's at work. Not a home worker, eh? No, she does quite a lot here at home, but just not today. No, not today. Ah, such luck. Well, I must be off. Tomorrow night, then. Say at 8? Yeah, fine. Bye. And she hangs up. Exhausted, Wayne Tech insists on opening party to announce the deal officially. Of course, guess who gets stuck with arranging the whole affair? Be glad when this whole deal is over. Not long. So, that was Rachel thinking about it all. And now Healy is absolutely a mess. She's sitting down and she's got papers everywhere. And let's see what she's thinking. Got an idea while talking to Hunter earlier. Maybe she's got the information stashed around here somewhere. It only makes sense that she wouldn't keep it at work. That masked probably searched her office already. And she's thinking about Grendel. Who is he? It's not in her bedroom. Oh God, I'm going to have to search the whole apartment. She's reaching for a drink. She has some shots. And then we flip to somebody else drinking, and it's Leonard. Observe Ross and his wife preparing to go out for evening. Ready first, he retired to his top floor study. Let him have his shot. Didn't need any screaming. So he gets scared. There's Batman. That's a beautiful panel right there. That looks real nice. With all the dark colors. With all the dark. So, he scares him. It's in his apartment. And he says, quietly, Mr. Ross. We needn't disturb your wife. No. I am here to discuss your inquiries into the delivery of the Sphinx. Answer truthfully. You have nothing to fear. Are you a victim of blackmail? Yes. He comes out right with it. He has photos of myself in a social indiscretion I just cannot afford. How are you to contact him once you have gained information? Times, personals, from Oedipus to Rex. Lenny, I'm ready. Hurry along now, or we'll miss the overture. That's his wife calling to him. And he says, shh, answer her. Coming, dear. Are you and your wife going out tomorrow night as well? Why, yes. There's a party at the gallery for it. Perfect. Have a wonderful time. Very well. And then Batman is gone out the window. So Rachel's here getting a cab. Had to stay late to oversee the erecting of a proxy of the Sphinx. We had to pay through the nose to get that dang thing constructed on such short notice, but Wayne Tech's picking up the tab. Lord knows it's only a drop in the bucket for them. What was it like for Bruce Wayne? Such opulence and no parents. What did that produce? Oh my God. And then I came home. Hillary. So she sees Hillary on the floor, all drunk, and papers everywhere, and everything got worse. Hilly, who did this? Should I call the police? No, it's me. Can't tell you why, but I had to do it. Just trust me, no police. Trust you? I come home to find the drunk and the apartment destroyed? What is going on? Find you drunk. Can't. Well, I just can't either. I can't stand for the way my life has been spinning in circles lately. So until I get some cooperation, I'm alerting. What? I said, no, Ray. This is not your own little world, you know. This is my life. Okay, I'm sorry. Shh, it's okay. You just don't understand. I can't help it. And she's crying. Finally, she did break down and tell me some of it. About the extortion, the what and the how. But she refused to tell me why. What did this beast have on her that was so terrible? Dang this Wayne's mess. Okay. Was so hungover this morning that I could barely see straight. Norman had that doubting tone tinge to his voice, and I felt horrible for it. No, I just need another day to get my strength back. I have a date with Hunter Rose tonight, and I don't want to be too tired out. Yes, Norman, I'll call you tomorrow, I promise. And she rolls over. We have Bruce Wayne. The day always passes so slowly when there's an appointed task that night. Always find myself trying to hurry it on with strenuous workouts, hitting the heavy bag. Then we have Rachel over here. Lucy, keep phoning Leonard's house and let me know as soon. I've been trying all morning, Rachel. No luck. And then she snaps her pencil. She's real mad. And now the gutless worm's apparently gone into hiding, or maybe he's left town at the insistence of the police. No use phoning them, of course. I hate this feeling of absolute impotence. If only I knew a little more of the truth in this matter. She's stressed out, and he is over here, and he's reading the personals. And it says, Dear Rex, tomorrow night at 9, at home, Oedipus. And then he says, after seeing the notice, I spent the rest of the day in friendly practice. It seems I have 2 dates this evening, and it will be dark soon enough. So now this is Batman outside of Leonard's house, and he's watching the apartment again. And it says, evening again. Found Leonard Ross drinking alone in his study, waiting to leave. Wonder if he saw the fake message in the Times. And it says, would have expected him gone already. Still, he could not hurry his wife without arousing suspicion. The announcement party for the Sphinx had already started, but of course there is always a desire to arrive late fashion. Nearly 9 with no sign as yet. This Riddler isn't nearly as punctual as the one I know. He's looking down. He says, I began to suspect my prey wouldn't appear at all. And of course there he is right behind him, sneaking up on him. Then he jumps down, and here is Grendel's thoughts. As I suspected, Leonard had already broken, and spilled his guts. The meeting was a setup, and the encounter all too early for my taste. He says, still not ready to reveal myself. A small tumble then. And then he's looking and says, And then Batman goes falling because Grendel kicks him off the roof. And says, didn't hear a thing until too late. My foe is sleek. And then he slides down the wire. And then Leonard is surprised and shocked and says, oh. And then Batman goes falling. And he grabs something. And he says, only caught a fleeting glimpse. And then he yells, Mildred. And he's trying to turn. It's Mildred, run! Oh my God! And then Batman saying, didn't even look like the Riddler. Savior, line was high voltage. Padding and gloves wouldn't hold out for long. So he grabbed an electric line, and padding is protecting him, and he's throwing his wire out. Says, made it. Face slightly scorched. Leonard Ross fled at the first sight of trouble. The open window didn't say much for his chances. Needed a showy entrance, one that would distract. So he's going to break through the windows. There he goes crashing through. It says, I guess the alarm's going off. It says, the study was dark, empty. Then his wife was screaming in the street below. Leonard ran fast, not fast enough. Didn't have to guess to know the note on his chest was another riddle. And then here's Hilly. Look, I said I don't want to talk about it. In fact, I would really prefer to just forget about the whole thing for an evening, okay? She's talking to Rachel. Rachel says, fine. And I would prefer to forget about the 3 hours it took me to get this place back in order. I helped. Well, I should hope so. So they're arguing. They're already fighting with each other. Says, look, honey, I understand your position and that this is a very bad thing. You have no idea how bad. You've never had anything like this happen to you. Not true. My past isn't squeaky clean. I know the pain of having your privacy. Well, if that's so, then why won't you drop it? Okay? Just drop it. I'm trying to help you because I care about you and don't like seeing you in pain. Well, you could always just tell me when and how the dang thing arrives. I have to get that. So the doorbell rings. She says, fine. So she's still trying to get the information for her. She doesn't know why she's trying to get it, but she says she's being blackmailed, and so Rachel understands at least that much of it. So Hunter's there, and then he says, well, well, a gallery in the flesh. I must apologize for being late. Well, it is an art party after all, and don't worry, I'm always late. Bob's your uncle. She laughs. Hunter rose. This is my roommate, Rachel King, the real gallery in the flesh. Enchanté, madam. Yes. He says, well, we're off, Ray. Have a good evening. Ah, and I had hoped we were a trio. I am so disappointed, Miss King. You'll survive. That author she's dating acts like David Niven. She always did have lousy taste in men. Okay, now we're going to have two parties. We have the party at the gallery with the art folk, and then we have the other thing for the Wayne Foundation. So Rachel walks in and she says, sorry I'm late. Lucy, how's things going? Smoothly. Good crowd. Any sign of Leonard yet? No, but you know his wife. They always arrive late. Yes, she is such a bloody snob. The replica looks good, huh? Yes. Oh, excuse me, Rachel. I see Anton Bliss over there. Anton Biggs over there. And then so they're walking. Let me see. How am I going to read this? I guess I'll just read it straight across. Yeah. As Lucy made her way off to flirt, I was surprised to find myself searching the crowd. I didn't admit to myself for whom until I finally saw him. Good evening, Mr. Wayne, Miss King. And then down here we have Hilly and Hunter's date. Hunter, before we go up, I want to apologize. This may not exactly be your type of scene. Won't be many tuxes, I think. Then I shall be unique. Don't worry. You say the host is a performance artist? He says so, anyway. That's him on the wall. Yes, with quotes from his critics. Charming. Ziggs, twice in 1 week. I'd like you to meet Hunter Rose. Yes, I recognize you. I read my little chickadee recently. Good stuff. Thank you. Seen the show downstairs? Big shades. I've seen it before. I had hoped that this party would help take my mind off the situation, and I had no intention of mentioning it to Hunter. Well, let's take a look at the grand repetition, I suppose. Hunter. Wrong on both counts. I just needed to tell someone neutral. So she's going to spill her guts to Hunter, not knowing that he's actually Grendel, the one who's causing her all this pain. You know, if something's bothering you, I have a good ear. I'm sorry, I have an overwhelming problem right now. So we're getting close to the end of the book. We're going to get close to the cliffhanger, and this is setting everything up. Nice to see you again, Mr. Wayne. Are you enjoying the party? I suppose you've done a fine job with the arrangements. Thank you. Is that champagne? My throat is parched. Might I steal a sip? This is flat. Allow me to fetch you another. No, that's fine. So what do you think of all this hoopla about the Riddler? And now we have Hilly. So that's the story. I either betray my dearest friend or doom my own daughter. And you have no idea who your assailant is. You've never seen his picture. No, I don't know much about such things. Perhaps I should go to the police. No, that would only bring all this dirt into the open. How did you know about that? So this is back to the Bruce Wayne conversation. Hoopla about the Riddler. How did you know about that? I was briefed by the police. Leonard, my boss, is apparently involved. The police are limited in what they can do, Miss King. Where is Mr. Ross tonight? I don't know. He's usually here by now, but I haven't seen him yet. Maybe he just couldn't make it then. Now, if you'll excuse me, Miss King. And back to the Hunter conversation. And what would that solve? You say your roommate doesn't know of your daughter? No, when we were in school, she had, well, it's complicated, but I never told her. Then my advice is to stick with it. You can't predict what this maniac will do. I suppose you're right, but I don't know how I'm going to get this information. You'll figure something out. Come on, this party is no place for you tonight. So they begin to go home, and this is Rachel. He acts like a teenager and yet looks like a god. God, the things I could do for him. Sharpen him, change him. And then now this is Hilly. He's just so understanding and graceful. A guy like that could really change things for me. So determined. And he's not a good guy, and he is a good guy, so it's kind of, yeah, crazy. Hi, Ray. Yes, sorry I missed you this morning. Dinner out tonight? Yes, I'd like that very much. So she's thinking. Ray sounded so pleasant on the phone. Maybe I should finally tell her tonight. And this is Rachel. This has gone far enough, Leonard. Oh, okay. This has gone far enough. Leonard is dead. Leonard is dead. The police are keeping it out of the papers, but this has gone far enough. Hello, Commissioner? It's all set. The apartment is yours tonight. Once again, the code words are Rose and Thorn. So she's gone to the cops and has told them what's going on. And then now it says, me. The abduction came off okay? Good. And the warehouse situation is secure? Fine. Then tell your actors to show up there tonight before 10. Looks like I'll be busy elsewhere. Dear Thorn, come tonight after 10 and inside this time. Rose. Okay, so now this is Bruce Wayne reading the riddle. Second riddle. Goliath, Medusa, Anne Boleyn, Anne Marie. How do we begin to recoup such losses on such brinks of disaster? You'll soon hear from me. Clues. Famous decapitations. D.B. Cooper. Brinks heist. Objective is theft with ransom demand. Brinks indicates a truck. 15 trucks have passed through Gotham checkpoints in the last 7 days. Only one listed as freelance vehicle. Dry dock in East Industrial District. Warehouse 17E. To the garage. So he goes to the garage with all his cars. Okay, now we have Batman roaring through the city on the streets. 7.5 minutes to reach city outskirts. Switch to silent run. He's going across the bridge. Warehouse, dark and seemingly deserted. 9:55 p.m. Four figures approach, far too openly. So he's watching right here above. There's the four figures. He says tire tracks are even visible. Too obvious. By all appearances, the marks. Riddler's last gang of henchmen. Illusion seems to be complete. So there's the four guys. Look just like the Riddler's men, he's saying. Then over here we have Grendel waiting outside the apartment. Despite the evening summons, I could see no activity within the darkened apartment of my prey. Of course, she would have had to arrange things so that her roommate would be absent, but would this frightened lass have chosen to wait for the devil in the dark? So he's suspecting something. He's wondering if this is good or not. Same as Batman over here. Or was she just energy conscious? He's checking his time. Says finally, the hour arrived and I was forced to act, regardless of appearances. So both Batman and Grendel are sitting outside, waiting, wondering if it's a trap or not. And then they decide that they're going to have to act. Very well. He takes off. He's driving. Grendel's making his move through the apartment. My opponent wishes a confrontation. That's what Batman says. And then Grendel says, after a quick scan from the roof in question, was convinced of no police vehicles, marked or otherwise, and of course, no bat vehicles. So Grendel's walking across the road. Then Batman's roaring through the gate and stuff in the yard. I am more than willing to comply. Ramming speed, 152 miles per hour. So he's going to ram it and open it. He's going across right there. Grendel's going, making his move. Upon entering, could smell the presence of bodies, guns. And then Batman goes and finds giant dominoes, and they begin to hit and fall. The whole place is rumbling. Grendel hears a click, and he says, I let them have their fun. Batman hears the thump, thump, thump of the dominoes as structural supports. And then they start falling, hitting the Batmobile, and Batman's, looking at it, going, uh-oh. And then he says, certainly plays with Riddler's toys. Everything falls down. The dominoes fit in with the Riddler's normal stuff. Grendel says, try to act surprised. So he knows that they're there, but he's going to act like he's surprised and go along with it. And here we are at the last page of the book. Commissioner Gordon's there with all the police with guns drawn, saying, hold it right there, Riddler. Hold it right there. And then he's, Riddler? Because he's like, okay, this ain't the Riddler. This is something else. And then he says, only a dozen. They really don't know whom they're up against. So apparently Grendel's pretty good, and he isn't afraid of these cops that are surrounding him. And Batman is covered in the crumble of the warehouse, and he says, who the devil is he? So that's the end of the book. Thanks for joining me. This is a way longer video than I normally do, but I wanted to go through and read it all, and I may start doing this for some of the others, just to get the full story. And it's actually it goes along with the name a little bit. Rick Reads Comics. I'm actually reading them, but I will take pauses and give all the thoughts that I have and stuff as I do it. But the back of the cover says Batman, he's the strangest, smartest foe the Batman has ever faced. He's Grendel, and there's never been anyone like him, Grendel. But yeah, that's the part 1 from Matt Wagner, book 1, Devil's Riddle. And somewhere up the line, I'll try to get the second book and go through it. But thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.